Legos. What's going on, everyone? I guess, is it brightening up? Here we go. The camera's brightening up. What's going on, everyone? It's Mike with this old Hotrod. It's been about a week or so since I did a video. Reason being, it's just been busy with work, busy with life. It was my birthday last weekend. Garage is a little bit disorganized. We had a bunch of people over. Everyone hung out. Did you know, kind of like a little birthday thing late Saturday night last weekend. Really haven't spent much time in the shop since then, so want to get out to the garage. And what I need to do today is I need to start the process, or start and finish the process of lifting the body off the chassis. So in order to do that, I don't know if I'm going to strap it from the ceiling and lift it off, or if I'm going to just go grab my brother's skid steer and lift it off with the skid steer. But in order to do that, I got a few things that I need to do first. Disconnect the fuel line from the bottom of the fuel tank. Disconnect the steering. Yeah, I forgot. I got to disconnect the steering column. The top of the shifter. I'm going to get the body off of the chassis today. I should be able to disconnect the motor and the transmission, remove the headers, things like that, anything that's sitting or bolted onto the motor itself. I'm gonna separate the motor and transmission just to make sure everything's good. I'm pretty sure it is. I need to be able to access underneath the motor. The reason being is I need to switch out the oil pan. There was some real thin metal on the bottom of the oil pan, so I need to replace the oil pan, so I have a pan to switch out. So that being said, I'm hoping to be able to spend not every waking minute this weekend in the garage, but a fair amount of time compared to what I've recently been able to put into the garage. Like I said, I've just been super busy with work. A couple of nights over the past week, I've spent a little bit of time out in the coupe, in the 30, driving that, enjoying it. Some of you guys who follow me on social media have seen that. I've seen my posts. I got some things to move. I'm going to pull the 30 coupe out of the garage now. Get that out of the way. Kind of do a little bit of organizing. Rearranging some things, getting some things out of here that don't need to be in here. And I'm going to get to work on pulling this 27T apart. Let's see what I got done. Oh, Saturday morning, I just got home from work, so like I said, just been busy. Thank you to everybody who reached out via social media, email, phone calls, text messages for my birthday, which was April 9th, this past Saturday. Again, thank you, really appreciate it. Alright. Let me get some of the things off the car that I need to, so I can get ready to start unbolting stuff. Just sitting here. I'll show you my pedal pads that I built with Joe. This is a piece of square steel. It's 1/8 inch steel. This is the pedal pad. This was from a Austin Healey bug-eyed Sprite. And this, as you can see, I just welded a bolt onto the pedal pad as a stud. I welded it, as you can see, on the bottom, which raised the pad up, which was right on the ball of my foot, which is exactly where I wanted it to be. And we shaped the metal pad, the flat stock, to mold to the same shape as the actual pad itself, the rubber pad itself, and then we slid it on. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple, and very effective. So that's it. So these are the pedal pads. I'll use a lock washer, but I hadn't yet. They were just sitting on there temporarily because I knew they were going to come back off again. So I'll throw these in the box of parts and keep taking stuff off the car. Nothing like drilling holes in an original 32 shell, huh? Never thought I'd be doing that stuff. No different than how they did it back in the day, I guess. I gotta remove the fuel line. So I have the fuel line running up from underneath the body of the car, down the chassis. So I have the fuel line coming down the rail, up through the rail, bent around here, going through this early Ford mount, and then ending here, and then it'll go from rubber from here to the pump. So I need to remove the mount, and then also I need to remove underneath here. There's a nipple, you can kind of see it on the bottom of the tank. I gotta disconnect the hose, the rubber line from the hard line to the rubber line. I gotta remove that so I can lift that tank out of there. And then I'll get this body lifted off. Grab some wrenches. Legos. Set this to the side. I wish they went together as fast as they come apart. All right. I think the body mounts and the steering are what's left. So let's get the body mounts taken off, and then steering's going to be a little bit of a process, but I'll get it. Alright, last order of business is to get the steering out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop the nut off of the end of the steering column, remove the steering wheel, remove the pinch bolt off of the tube, and I'm actually going to slide the steering tube out with the column drop, because otherwise I don't think this drop is going to fit through the hole in the firewall. At that point, what I'll be able to do is get the bolts undone on the bottom down at the steering box, and I should be able to, well, I'll probably have to remove the driver's side header also, probably do that first. Then I'll have full access to the steering box, and then I'll be able to pull that steering box out. After that, I think that's it. I think the body is going to be ready to lift off the chassis. So I'm going to do the steering box, get that taken care of, head over, grab the skid steer from my brother, and then get this thing lifted off the chassis. Yeah, I just need to figure out where I'm going to put it first. So I don't know yet. Probably tuck it over in a corner or something. So, alright, steering wheel. I think it's a little bit big. You know, this steering wheel, if you don't know, was a cast aluminum steering wheel out of an old Chris Craft boat. A lot of guys used to run these back in the day because they keyed on the same size shaft as an early Ford steering wheel is. Use my persuader. Alright, I have a small little puller here. I don't know if this is going to work or not. It ended up working the way I thought it would. Perfect. So now what I notice on this one is this block of switches is in the way of me getting to the bolt for this side of the column drop. So that means in order to get these switches out, I need to take off the dash panel. So let's take off the dash panel. Hang on.
Really?
What? I said hi, hon.
Yeah, you didn't tell me how beautiful I looked.
You look beautiful. You look beautiful.
You're telling me.
You know to tell me how beautiful I look.
Yeah, I do all the time.
I don't think you do.
Yeah, I do.
Pretty sure you don't.
I even cat call you sometimes. What are you doing? Removing the body?
Yeah. It's like a little tab broken. Yeah, pull the switch out at the same time.
Use a key.
It's broken, that's why it's doing this. If it wasn't broken, it wouldn't be getting caught. Yeah, that was easy. It's all set now. That's the realities of building a hot rod. Not everything goes the way you want it to, hon. And sometimes you have to throw parts with your left hand. Alright. Column drop is off. Now, let's get the keyway out of here. The spring. Steering tube. Last but not least, the steering box and the driver's side header. At least the front one is. Hi, Izzy. Alright, so I'm gonna need your help. Not this second, but I'm gonna. I promise I won't throw anything. Well, no, I don't. I take that back. Alright, steering's off. Alright.
Wow, what did you put on that to make it all rusty?
I forget. Salt and vinegar. The underneath looks better than the top does. So a couple of people online said spray it with hydrogen peroxide, it'll darken it up. So, I don't know. Alright, yeah, I think that's it. think that's it. I think everything's unbolted. I gotta go grab straps. I'm gonna grab some axle straps also, the machine, and a set of forks. And pick up old number 44. Alright everyone, I'm back. Me and Ellie took the coupe out and we went to a local brewery. Had a couple of beers, new brewery that just opened up next town over. Then we went from there and went to a little cafe. We found a garage sale that actually ended up with some pretty cool stuff. Had a bunch of little car related items. I was in an old cranberry, like an old building. That's the company that invented the cranberry separator. It's called the Harvey Cranberry Separator, I think it was called. So it's just super cool building. Met a lot of good people. The coupe really attracts a lot of people, so everywhere you go, people are just kind of gravitated towards it. So we had a great day, but she's gone. She went to a girlfriend's birthday party. I'm left to my own devices. I have the Roadster here, the machine, some straps, and a set of forks. Let's see what we can do. Should come off. The key word is should. Yeah, we're good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the body up, and then I'm going to jump out of the machine, and I'm going to move the chassis over. And then what I need to do is figure out exactly what it is I'm going to do with the body. I don't know at this point. I just set it on the floor for now. Maybe find a dolly or something to put it on. Anyways, let's get this thing off. Woo! I think with the body lifting up, it's binding on the rear cross member. Pull this back panel off, just like I had said earlier in the video. So let's pull. Alright. I'm just going to lift up just a little bit with the machine. I'm going to hop out of the machine. I'm going to wiggle the body around, make sure it's free, and then I'll pop it off. I hope. Figure out why it won't come up the chassis. I'm going to hook it onto a different spot. I'm going to see if I can just lift it up at first with the straps. Probably should have taken the windshield off. Found the problem. Found it. I welded something to the rear cross cover. Alright, so I figured where I screwed up. I'll show you guys. I welded something onto something I shouldn't have. See those two little tack welds down there past the sheet metal? That's the sub rails to mount this to. And I welded them to the chassis by mistake. I did the same on the passenger side, so I'm going to get those cut real quick. Alright, so I got those two little spots cut that I believe was the issue. I'm going to get these hooked back up and see if I can get this thing off again now. Go ahead and leave these front straps a little longer. I didn't like the pressure that was on the windshield. That's better. Alright. I got her on all her dollies. Oh, it's a little dark because the light's behind it. I didn't break the windshield. That's a bonus. Or at least yet. I didn't break it yet. Now what I have is the ability to weld the firewall. I can finish weld the firewall. Spin it around and show you. Now, like I had said, I can finish weld. I can remove all these zip screws that are across the front of the firewall from inside. I can remove those. I can weld that to the car. I can finish off, make a patch, some type of like a panel that I can remove when it comes time to do the steering. At some point, what I'll end up having to do is put the body on its nose. And then I'll be able to finish weld everything underneath the car. The sub rails that I built, I have to finish weld the undersides of them. The channels that I installed for the seat mounts, also where I installed the seat belts. I want to be able to finish weld everything there because I added some plate underneath the areas where the seat belts are going to go. It was 1/8" plate. That's kind of it. There's not a lot to do on the body, but there's a little more to do on the chassis. So I'll show you what we need to do in the chassis. So what we need to do on the chassis is I need to remove the motor and transmission so I can go through the motor. Transmission's dry at the moment, so I'll make sure I put the fluid in for the transmission. I have some 600 weight up in the top garage. Also, I need to finish weld the front driver's side leg of the X member where I modified it for the pedals. I need to plumb the brakes. I also need to finish weld the mounts that I made when I moved the radius rods inside the frame rails on the rear axle tubes. So I'm going to weld those. Honestly, there's really not much to do. I mean, there's maybe a couple hours worth of welding at most. I had plans at some point to paint the chassis and the suspension and all that stuff. I'm not going to. I do have to pull the front suspension apart. And the reason being is I need to add 1/4-inch spacers that I need to make for the wishbones, because the axle boss is 2-inch and the opening of the boss where my perch bolts go through is 2 1/4, so you have to add a 1/4-inch spacer. Pine Tree Jamboree, that's why I'm building this car, August 19th through the 21st of this year. If you haven't already, look into it. Instagram and Facebook, look up Pine Tree Jamboree, follow along. We've been posting updates. We've been posting approved cars. So it's a pre-53 flathead only powered 8th mile drag race. It's at Winterport Dragway in Winterport, Maine. Last year we had about 50 cars. It was during COVID, and then also we had a big storm coming up the East Coast. So the car numbers were down last year, but we had a blast. I think the track said that we did 750 runs with the people that were there. I know, me personally, I had almost 40 runs in myself. That's the reason why I'm building this car, is for the Pine Tree Jamboree, and also Trog. So if you haven't already on Instagram, do a search for Pine Tree Jamboree, hit that like, follow us, just so you can see the updates, what's going on, any news, we post it there. Yeah, so we have only been posting up a few things about that. We got the flyer, still working out some details as far as t-shirts and different things that we're going to be offering for sale. But keep an eye out on Instagram and Facebook also, and then in the community page, This Old Hot Rod community page. If you haven't already, check out thisoldhotrod.com. That's my website. I created it myself. I didn't pay anybody to do it. I taught myself how to do it. I figured it out. It was a lot of work. I put a lot of time into it. And I got t-shirts, hats, hoodies, a bunch of stickers, louvered key fobs, brass louvered key fobs that say This Old Hot Rod on them. Yeah, and I'm always updating it, trying to always add new things, new items, t-shirts, hats, whatever. So if you haven't already, get over to thisoldhotrod.com, check out the store, let you guys, just check it out. If you guys see something you want, purchase it. I appreciate the support. Thanks for everybody who's been still purchasing the headlamps from odelphi.com. You guys see me wear them in my videos. That's these headlamps here. The LED headlamp. Super bright. Bunch of different settings. Odelphi.com, ODELFI.com. Information's in the description below. Hey, by the way, before I punch out, check out This Old Hot Rod. Another viewer sent me in some photos, and I want you guys to check this out. I think you guys will like it. See ya.